Lesson 73. I will there be light. Today we are considering the will you share with God. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arise. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. The ego's idle wishes are unshared, and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your belief can be very strong. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peoples it with figures that seem to attack you and call for righteous judgment. These figures become the middlemen the ego employs to traffic in grievances. They stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Beholding them, you do not know your brothers or yourself. Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering, in which guilt is traded back and forth, and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did God create disaster for his Son? Creation is the will of both together. Would God create a world that kills himself? Today we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. It is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light that shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we will look for it. Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. The source of neither light nor darkness can be found without. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out on a darkened world. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will, and lets you look upon a world of light. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily passed and cannot stand between you and your salvation. The reason is very simple. Do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die? Forget the ego's arguments which seek to prove all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. You cannot want this for yourself. There is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness you really want. Such is your will in truth. And so salvation is your will as well. You want to succeed in what we are trying to do today. We undertake it with your blessing and your glad accord. We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. You have no will that can really oppose it, and you do not want to do so. Salvation is for you. Above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Today it is the ego that stands powerless before your will. Your will is free, and nothing can prevail against it. Therefore, we undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that we will find what it is your will to find and remember what it is your will to remember. No idle wishes can detain us nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. Today, let your will be done, and end forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose. We will begin our longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. It is not the purpose of an alien power thrust upon you unwillingly. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. You will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the Son of God from hell and from all idle wishes. His will is now restored to his awareness. He is willing this very day to look upon the light in him and be saved. After reminding yourself of this and determining to keep your will clearly in mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Then let your will assert itself, joined with the power of God and united with yourself. Put the rest of the practice period under their guidance. Join with them as they lead the way. In the shorter practice periods, again, make a declaration of what you really want. Say, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This should be repeated several times an hour. It is most important, however, to apply today's idea in this form immediately you are tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This will help you let your grievances go, instead of cherishing them and hiding them in darkness. Fireside Chat, Lesson 73, I Will There Be Light. Welcome, mighty companions. Let's pull up our chairs by the fire and go deep into this lesson. This isn't just about words on a page, it's about waking up, shaking off the dream, and remembering the light that was never lost. The power of will versus idle wishes. To will something is to make it real. It's an act of creation. The will of God is shared with us, meaning we have the power to co-create reality. But the ego doesn't create, it counterfeits. It manufactures idle wishes, illusions that seem real but have no substance. Idle wishes are those fleeting desires that never materialize because they lack true intent. The ego whispers them in our ears. I wish my life were different. I wish they would change. I wish I had more money. But these are just shadows cast by an empty lantern. They feel like something, but they create nothing. Now contrast that with true will, the will we share with God. It is powerful beyond measure. It is the force behind real creation. When we align with it, darkness vanishes and light floods in. Grievance trafficking, the economy of the ego. Here's where things get wild. The ego doesn't just wish, it builds an entire marketplace of grievances. Imagine a grievance trafficking ring, where the ego is the kingpin. It sends out middlemen, figures in the world who seem to attack us, betray us, disappoint us, so that we have a reason to keep trading grievances. Picture it. Two people standing on opposite sides of a table, sliding chips of resentment back and forth. Each time a grievance is traded, the pile grows. The ego laughs because this is its economy, an endless cycle of guilt, attack, and righteous judgment. But here's the truth. Every time we participate in grievance trafficking, we are wearing tinted glasses. We see only through the filter of our own darkness. If we're wearing red lenses, everything looks red. If we wear the lenses of resentment, the whole world seems hostile. But the moment we take them off, when we choose forgiveness, the light returns. It was there all along, but we couldn't see it. Breaking the illusion, the will to see. Let's talk about the world we see. The Course says this world is not real, not in the ultimate sense. It is a projection of the mind, shaped by our will or by our grievances. If we let grievances rule, we will see a world of attack, separation, and fear. If we let the will we share with God rule, we will see light. The light doesn't come from the world, it comes from within. Imagine being in a dark cave for years, your eyes adjust, you come to accept the darkness as normal. One day, someone shines a bright light, and it blinds you. It's uncomfortable at first, but eventually your eyes adjust and you see clearly for the first time. This is what awakening is like. At first, it feels jarring. The light exposes what was hidden, the illusions we clung to, the grievances we secretly cherished. But once we accept the light, we never want to return to the cave. Cherishing grievances, the ego's secret stash. Let's get real. Why do we hold on to grievances? Because they serve us, or at least we think they do. The grudge we keep against a friend makes us feel superior. The resentment toward a parent justifies why we struggle in life. The anger at an ex keeps us from moving on, because deep down, we're afraid to love again. Grievances become our identity. Without them, who would we be? Imagine a hoarder living in a house filled with junk, old newspapers, broken furniture, things they haven't touched in decades. They know it's clutter, but they're afraid to let it go because what if they need it someday? Grievances are just like that. We store them in the basement of our mind, just in case we need a reason to feel hurt, justified, or separate. But all they do is take up space where light could enter. A provocative question. Do you really want to be in hell? The Course doesn't mince words. It asks a brutal question. Do you really want to weep and suffer? The ego, in its twisted logic, tries to convince us that this world of attack is heaven, that suffering is noble, that righteous anger is justified, that victimhood is identity. But deep down, we know the truth. Suffering is not happiness. Conflict is not love. Fear is not power. We can step out of hell at any moment. The door is not locked. The only thing keeping us here is the belief that we belong. The choice. I will there be light. This is where it all turns. The Course invites us to declare, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This isn't a plea, it's a statement of fact. It's like saying, I will breathe. You don't have to force it. It's natural. Light is your natural state. Each time a grievance rises, we have a choice. Hold on to it and reinforce the illusion. Release it and remember the truth. Every grievance we drop is another step out of the cave. Final thought. Will you look upon the light? Today. There's a point beyond which illusions cannot go. When we stand at the edge, the ego panics. It will throw everything it has at us, fear, doubt, anger, just to keep us in its world. But today, we choose differently. Today, we take off the tinted glasses. Today, we stop trafficking in grievances. Today, we say, I will there be light. The question is, are you willing to see it?